Hey guys, Brian here from LCS. Thanks for stopping by the channel and this video. A quick update on the Comic Book Community Awards. So last weekend, the finalists were announced in the 10 different categories, and it kind of caused a little bit of a stir. Obviously there was some buzz around it because of all of the channels that got nominated. They were pretty excited, but then word started getting around to some channels that maybe were not aware of it just chose not to pay attention to it. They weren't sure if it was a real thing. There's been a little bit of negative feedback on it, and some people questioning it or calling it out. And I'm not here. I want to try and stay above all of that because the idea behind the awards was to recognize all of the great content and creators and all of the things. I mean, speculation, the some of the great covers. There's artwork. There's great editing and funny stuff that's being done within the community. So the idea of these awards was really to recognize all of that. And I clearly made a mistake. I did not reach out to a lot of all the channels in the community because frankly I don't know all of the channels, right? But I did tag a bunch of people on, on Instagram on some of the posts leading up to the nominations, and a number of other channels talked about it. Clearly, like I said, I'll take ownership of that, not reaching directly out to some of the bigger channels. But when I look at the finalist list, there's a wide variety of channels. There are some new channels, some older channels, channels with small subscriber base, channels with big subscriber base. So I think it's a good representation of the community overall. Some people disagree. They got a little butt hurt. Not much I can do about that. I can only offer my apologies. The one thing to keep in mind is that these are based on nominations, votes that came in, not something that I came up with a list on my own. This was based on the community, right? And so, people boast, well, I've got, 7,000 subscribers, so they should be on that channel should be on the list. Well, if those 7,000 subscribers aren't engaged in voting, there's not much I can do about that. But like I said, I will certainly take the ownership of not communicating it out to a larger number of people. And so there were some people that had no idea, wasn't even on their radar. So certainly, I will take ownership of that. And people have mentioned, oh, well, you should, redo the nominations, reopen up the nominations. And that's honestly not fair to the people that voted and submitted nominations and to the finalists that have been announced. That would not be fair to now, pull those and then vote or have the nominations opened up again. That would not be fair. But I am certainly willing to be flexible, right? In any type of community friendship, there's some give and take, right? Compromise. So I'm going to open up a People's Choice Award, and I'm going to open up nominations, and I'm going to reach out to as many channels as I can, on Instagram, and make sure they are aware of it. And so we will open up the nominations for the People's Choice Award for probably 5 to 6 weeks. And then we'll close that down. We'll announce the finalists, and it will be in line with the other finalists. So we went from 10 categories now to 11. And so hopefully we can capture anybody who felt like they were left out or weren't aware of it, right? And what's the old saying, right? Any press is, bad press is better than no press. So there are a lot of people talking about it. So, and the intention, like I said, is really to highlight the great work that's being done in the community. It's not to segment or segregate or any of those things, right? It's not to isolate people or make people feel bad if they didn't get nominated or if they don't win. That's not the case. It's to celebrate what we all do and to highlight who we think the best is, right? And so, there's some cranky Yankee fans out there, and Yankee fans are a tough crew, man. When you win as many championships as they have, you set the expectations very high, right? You're pretty cocky with your expectations. So it's just sometimes you can't win, right? You can't win it all. Not every year you're going to be in the World Series. So sometimes you got to realize that. So there's others out there. And, I don't think a size of a channel, the amount of subs, means that you should automatically be nominated. There are channels with, 5,000, 7,000, 10,000 subs, they go do a live stream and they've got, under, 5%, a few, 2 or 3% of their base watching their live video. So that's not something I'm beating my chest about. I would much rather have a smaller channel with more engaged viewers, right? If I have 500 and 300 of them are engaged, well, that's much better than having 7,000 or 10,000 subscribers. So, but look, put all of that stuff aside. I clearly misstepped with not, like I said, not getting this out to more people. And making more people aware of it. My mistake, my bad. I apologize. I own up to it. But this is not going to be a one shot, right? This isn't a one and done type awards things. These will grow year after year. We may add different categories. We may recognize, different subsections of the community, what's going on, what the trends are. And so, yeah, if you didn't get nominated this year, you may get nominated next year, right? And so, and I think, as it progresses, it will just continue to grow. And if you don't care for it, well, then that's fine. Don't vote, don't nominate, and that's fine. There are plenty of channels that I sub to that I don't really watch because I don't care for their content or maybe the personality, but that's my choice, right? And people may not like my content and my channel, so that's fine. I get it. We're all adults here. Some of the channels are younger, but it's kind of silly to be fighting over, a fan or a fan based or other YouTubers voting on channels, right? Why would you? It's not like I said. I didn't pull the names and channels out of a hat. It was based on nominations. Again, I understand. There were people that didn't vote or didn't nominate, weren't aware. My mistake, my bad. I take ownership on that. But there's no reason to penalize those people who have already collected nominations and have been announced as finalists. So we will move forward. We will add an additional award, and hopefully channels that felt they were not nominated or underrepresented, represented will be added and can now be up for the award. And like I said, no hard feelings if you don't want to be in it or don't want to take part in it. Totally get that. Totally understand. But understand, there was I wasn't trying to single anybody out or exclude anybody. This should be a whole community thing, and I totally get that. So let's just move forward from this. We will open up the People's Choice Award this Saturday, so the 4th, and it will run, like I said, for 5 or 6 weeks. I'll post everything up on the website, cbcawards.org. And I'm hopefully, this doesn't cause any bad blood in the community. That was not the point of this. We really want to make it a fun thing. And, give some prizes away, give some awards away. And if people, like I said, if people feel like the awards divide us, well, then don't choose to participate in it. That's fine. You're not required to, even if you're nominated or even if you're a winner. But, I did speak to some, people within the community, some even larger channels, reached out to them before the awards got announced. And they were on board with it, right? So there was some feedback. So this wasn't something I, dreamt up in 3 seconds and threw together. I've been involved in other community type awards in other communities, most recently in the blogging community. So I do have some experience in this. Like I said, I own up to the mistake. I apologize for not reaching out directly to some channels, but I can only reach out to the channels that I'm aware of, right? There are some, channels that have been around that I may not be aware of. I don't know all of the comic book channels on YouTube. I'm discovering new channels every day. Some great channels, some channels that are not my cup of tea, but, there's a lot of channels out there. So I would rely on the community to help spread the word. And I know there's been a number of other channels that have done videos and have talked about it. Some small channels, some really big channels have talked about it. So, and maybe that's once the finalists came out, that there was more buzz because a lot more people started talking about the finalist list, and maybe who wasn't included. That really kind of raise the awareness on the event. So again, I can only apologize at this point, but it's not fair to the people that have placed their nominations and the finalists at this point to do a recount or revote. And you have to understand those finalists, the 5 finalists in each category. There were a number of other channels and creators that were nominated. They just didn't make the final cut for the finalist list. So, there's been a list of names that has been thrown around of people who weren't included. But there were a number of those channels that had nominations. They just didn't have enough nominations to make the finalist list. So, and I'm not about to reveal all of that data. It wouldn't be fair to everybody. But I did have a committee of members look at that and help me produce the finalist list. So again, I'm running this as a kind of a one-man show, but I do get help. Certainly when it comes to the nominations and the votes, I want to make sure that others are looking at it and validating that data. So again, I apologize if you were upset with it. That was not the intention. The intention is to bring the community together and do something fun. Quite frankly, I was surprised that there were not an awards already put together. It is such a large community. There are, big, small, all kinds of channels. And, you look at some of the big channels with, 5, 10, 15, 20,000 subscribers, that's a big, you start adding them all up together. And, you're at, 100,000 people that are watching comic book content on YouTube. And I'm sure it's a lot larger than that. So I was kind of surprised that there wasn't an awards kind of in place to recognize all the great content and creators that are out there. So that was the reason behind it. Again, I will apologize again. It wasn't my intention to exclude anybody from this. So I will open up the nominations for a People's Choice Award, and I will send out as many notifications about it through Instagram. Tell your friends. That's all I can do. I can ask you to help spread the word, and then hopefully we can kind of just get past this and realize that there was, it wasn't to exclude anybody. It was just a simple mistake on my part. I overlooked, reaching out directly to some of the maybe bigger channels. So my mistake, my bad. I apologize. That's all I can do. I think we just move forward from here. We'll add an additional category, so hopefully we can pick up some of the channels that weren't nominated, who deserve nominations, that can become, the People's Champion here, People's Choice Award, and we'll just move on from there. I appreciate everybody who's been, who's excited about it, who's been talking about it. Like I said, good or bad, it helps spread the word, so I do appreciate that. And like I said, no ill will on my end. I don't want to cause drama within the community. It is just a way to give back and have a fun event and recognize all of the great work that's being done. So I hope you guys understand that. I appreciate the support, and I hope you will jump in on the People's Choice Award, and we can maybe pick up some of those channels that felt like they were slighted and weren't included. So, that's the goal, right? I just, we want to have fun. We want to be friendly. We want to, keep the community, growing and going strong. So that's it, guys. Thanks. I appreciate it. And I will have, future updates. Finalists open for the 10 categories is open now. So please get your votes in, cbcawards.org, or, look for the People's Choice Award nominations that will open up this Saturday. And then and that will be at the website as well, cbcawards.org. And then we will, in, like I said, about 5 or 6 weeks, we will close those nominations and announce the finalists for the People's Choice Award. And I'm hopeful that we pick up some new channels, some people that maybe felt slighted, and we can kind of get them involved. And we just move forward. We have a great event, and we recognize all the great work that everybody's doing out there. So thanks, guys.